Welcome to Health 2660. Here, we don't just talk about health, we tell the stories that heal. Now please listen to the story. Margaret, a woman who had lived a vibrant life, brimming with activity, found herself tethered to her armchair at the age of 72. Her days, once filled with the simple joys of tending her garden and the invigorating rhythm of evening walks, were now a monotonous cycle of discomfort and disappointment. The culprit was her legs. They ached with a persistent, throbbing pain, swelled to an alarming size by late afternoon, and tormented her with excruciating cramps that shattered her sleep each night. She felt betrayed by her own body, a prisoner within a vessel that refused to cooperate with her spirit's yearning for movement and engagement. She had always prided herself on her independence, a trait forged in the crucible of a childhood, marked by both hardship and resilience. Born during the tail end of the Great Depression, Margaret learned early on the value of self-sufficiency and the importance of perseverance. Her parents, simple farmers with calloused hands and unwavering determination, instilled in her a deep respect for the land and a relentless work ethic. They taught her how to nurture life from the soil, how to mend fences with her own two hands, and how to weather the storms of adversity with unwavering faith. These lessons shaped her into the woman she was: strong, capable, and fiercely independent. That independence was now threatened. The simple act of climbing stairs had become an ordeal, each step a painful reminder of her declining physical capabilities. She found herself increasingly reluctant to leave the house, declining invitations from friends and neighbors, preferring the solitude of her armchair to the embarrassment of struggling to keep pace. The vibrant social life she had once enjoyed dwindled, replaced by a sense of isolation and a growing fear of becoming a burden on others. She had tried everything the doctors recommended: compression socks, which felt like constricting bands around her already swollen legs, offered only temporary relief. Pain relief creams, promising instant soothing, delivered nothing but a fleeting coolness that quickly faded, leaving behind the same persistent ache. Physical therapy, while initially promising, proved too strenuous, exacerbating her pain and leaving her feeling more defeated than ever. Each failed attempt chipped away at her hope, reinforcing the insidious belief that her condition was irreversible, a sentence of pain and immobility for the remainder of her days. One evening, while undertaking the daunting task of reorganizing her cluttered kitchen cabinets, Margaret stumbled upon a forgotten relic from her past. Tucked away in the back of a dusty shelf, amidst a jumble of spices and forgotten ingredients, was a small amber-colored bottle labeled simply rosemary oil. The label was faded and worn, the lettering barely legible, but the scent that wafted from the bottle when she uncapped it was instantly recognizable. A pungent, earthy aroma that evoked memories of her grandmother's garden, a place filled with the intoxicating fragrance of herbs and flowers. Margaret had almost forgotten about the rosemary oil. It had been a gift from her daughter Emily several years ago, a well-intentioned gesture that had been quickly relegated to the back of the cabinet and forgotten. Emily, a fervent advocate of natural remedies, had always encouraged her mother to explore alternative approaches to health and wellness. But Margaret, a pragmatist at heart, had remained skeptical, preferring the perceived certainty of conventional medicine. Now facing the prospect of a life increasingly limited by pain and immobility, Margaret found herself reconsidering her stance. Desperate for relief, she decided to investigate the potential benefits of the forgotten rosemary oil. She retrieved her laptop from the living room and settled into her armchair, a cup of lukewarm tea beside her. With a deep sigh, she typed, "Rosemary oil benefits for leg pain and swelling," into the search engine. The results were overwhelming. A deluge of articles, blog posts, and scientific studies flooded her screen, all touting the potential benefits of rosemary oil for a variety of ailments, including improved circulation, reduced inflammation, and pain relief. She was surprised to discover that rosemary oil had been used for centuries in traditional medicine, its healing properties revered by cultures around the world. Ancient Romans believed it enhanced memory and mental clarity, while Egyptians used it in embalming rituals. Modern science, she learned, had begun to validate these ancient claims, with studies showing that rosemary oil possesses potent anti-inflammatory and analgesic properties. One article in particular caught her attention. It detailed the findings of a recent study that investigated the effects of rosemary oil massage on patients with peripheral artery disease, a condition characterized by reduced blood flow to the legs and feet. The study found that regular massage with rosemary oil significantly improved circulation, reduced pain, and increased mobility in the participants. The scientific explanation resonated with Margaret. Rosemary oil contains compounds that dilate blood vessels, allowing for improved blood flow to the affected areas. Improved circulation, in turn, helps to reduce inflammation and alleviate pain. Intrigued and cautiously optimistic, Margaret decided to embark on a simple experiment. She would commit to using the rosemary oil for 7 days, massaging it into her legs each morning and evening, and meticulously tracking her progress. She knew that 7 days was a short period of time, but she reasoned that it would be enough to determine whether the oil had any noticeable effect. If it didn't work, she would simply chalk it up to another failed attempt and continue her search for a solution. The next morning, Margaret awoke with the familiar throbbing pain in her legs. She made her way to the kitchen, retrieved the rosemary oil from the cabinet, and placed it on the counter. She then heated a small amount of the oil in the microwave until it was warm to the touch. Sitting on the edge of her bed, she began to gently massage the warm oil into her legs, starting at her ankles and working her way up to her thighs. She focused on the areas where the pain was most intense, applying firm but gentle pressure. The aroma of the rosemary oil filled the room, creating a sense of calm and relaxation. As she massaged her legs, Margaret practiced deep breathing, inhaling deeply through her nose and exhaling slowly through her mouth. She had learned about the importance of deep breathing exercises from a yoga class she had taken years ago. Deep breathing, she knew, helps to calm the nervous system, reduce stress, and improve circulation. She closed her eyes and focused on her breath, allowing the rhythm of her breathing to soothe her mind and body. The first massage was awkward and clumsy. Her hands were stiff, and her legs were sensitive to the touch. But as she continued to massage, she began to feel a subtle shift. The pain, while still present, seemed to lessen slightly. The swelling in her ankles appeared to be reduced, and the aroma of the rosemary oil filled her with a sense of hope, a feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time. That evening, before going to bed, Margaret repeated the massage routine. Again, she warmed the rosemary oil, gently massaged it into her legs, and practiced deep breathing. She then climbed into bed, her legs feeling slightly less achy than they had in weeks. She drifted off to sleep, not expecting much. Nighttime had become synonymous with pain and discomfort. But something remarkable happened that night. For the first time in months, Margaret slept through the entire night without being awakened by leg cramps. She awoke the next morning feeling refreshed and energized, a feeling she had almost forgotten. The pain in her legs was still present, but it was noticeably less intense. The swelling had also decreased, and her ankles looked almost normal. Fueled by this unexpected success, Margaret continued her rosemary oil massage routine for the next 2 days. Each morning and evening, she diligently massaged her legs, practiced deep breathing, and meticulously tracked her progress. With each passing day, she noticed further improvements. The pain continued to subside, the swelling diminished, and her legs felt lighter and more flexible. By day 3, Margaret was able to walk around her house without wincing in pain. She even ventured outside to check on her garden, something she hadn't done in weeks. She spent a few minutes weeding her flower beds, marveling at the vibrant colors of the blossoms. The simple act of gardening, once a source of joy, had become a painful reminder of her physical limitations. Now she was able to reconnect with her passion, feeling a renewed sense of purpose and vitality. On day 5, Margaret decided to try something even more ambitious. She walked to the mailbox at the end of her driveway, a distance that had previously seemed insurmountable. To her surprise, she was able to complete the walk without any significant pain or discomfort. She even managed to carry the mail back to the house without feeling breathless or exhausted. As day 7 approached, Margaret felt like a different woman. The pain in her legs had been reduced to a dull ache. The swelling was almost completely gone, and her legs felt stronger and more flexible than they had in years. She was able to move around with ease, climb stairs without difficulty, and resume her normal daily activities. On the morning of day 7, Margaret woke up with a sense of exhilaration. She knew that she had reached a turning point in her life. The rosemary oil, combined with her commitment to self-care, had given her back her independence, her mobility, and her joy. She decided to celebrate her newfound freedom with an evening walk around the block, a simple pleasure she had been denied for far too long. As she stepped out of her house, she took a deep breath of the fresh air and smiled. The sun was setting, casting a warm, golden glow over the neighborhood. Children were playing in their yards. Neighbors were chatting on their porches, and the air was filled with the sounds of laughter and life. Margaret walked slowly and deliberately, savoring each step. She felt the gentle breeze on her face, heard the birds singing in the trees, and smelled the sweet fragrance of honeysuckle in the air. She was fully present in the moment, appreciating the simple beauty of the world around her. As she rounded the corner, she saw her neighbor, Mrs. Peterson, tending her rose bushes. Mrs. Peterson, a woman of similar age and physical condition, had also been struggling with leg pain and immobility. Margaret had often seen her limping around her yard, her face etched with pain. Margaret decided to share her story with Mrs. Peterson. She told her about the rosemary oil, the massage routine, and the incredible results she had achieved. Mrs. Peterson listened intently, her eyes widening with each word. "I can't believe it," Mrs. Peterson said. "I've tried everything and nothing seems to work. I'm going to try that rosemary oil." With Margaret's guidance, Mrs. Peterson started her own 7-day trial, and she too experienced significant relief. Margaret's transformation became a source of inspiration for others in her community. She started sharing her story with friends, family, and neighbors, encouraging them to explore the potential benefits of natural remedies and self-care. She became a local advocate for healthy living, inspiring others to take control of their health and well-being. Margaret continued to use rosemary oil as part of her daily routine, maintaining her newfound mobility and independence. She resumed her evening walks, tended her garden with renewed enthusiasm, and reconnected with her vibrant social life. She was no longer a prisoner of her own body, but a free and active participant in the world around her. Years passed. Margaret never forgot the lessons she learned during her period of suffering. She continued to advocate for natural health solutions and always kept a bottle of rosemary oil close at hand. She traveled, she volunteered, she spent time with her family. She lived a full and active life, grateful for every day she had been given. Her journey was a testament to the power of hope, the resilience of the human spirit, and the healing potential of nature. And it all began with a forgotten bottle of rosemary oil, rediscovered in the back of a cluttered kitchen cabinet. Margaret's story wasn't just about rosemary oil. It was about reclaiming her life. It was about refusing to surrender to the limitations of age and infirmity. It was about embracing the power of self-care and the wisdom of traditional medicine. It was a story of hope, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit to overcome adversity and rediscover the joy of living. She realized the oil itself was just a tool, but her determination and willingness to embrace change was the key to her healing. She also learned an invaluable lesson about the power of community. Sharing her discovery with Mrs. Peterson and then with others not only amplified her own healing, but also created a ripple effect, empowering others to take charge of their well-being. She understood that healing wasn't a solitary journey, but a shared experience, enriched by connection and mutual support. This realization further cemented her commitment to sharing her story, transforming her from a patient into a beacon of hope for those struggling with similar challenges. In the end, Margaret's life was a profound reminder that age is not a barrier to vitality, and that even in the face of adversity, we have the power to heal ourselves and inspire others along the way. Health 2660. Thanks you for listening. We'll see you in the next video, and until then, be kind to yourself.